There's a picture of our product saying, found these, bought these, love these. And I was just like, is this her? And I click on the profile. I'm like, 330 million followers. I'm like, this is legit.
Those are stickers that you smell them when you drink your water and your brain is tricked to believe that you're drinking flavored water, while in fact it's just regular water.
We have guinea pigs, which are our children. I could send them off to school with different variations of patches. They would come back with welts and go, yeah, that one didn't work. Let's try another.
Welcome to Add to Cart, Australia's leading e-commerce podcast that express delivers all you need to know in the fast-moving world of online retail. Here's your host, Bushy.
Welcome to another episode of Add to Cart. I'm Bushy and I'm joining you from the land of the terrible people, otherwise known as Brisbane, Australia. On Add to Cart, we welcome everyone to share and listen to e-commerce stories. The more diverse, the better. I want to especially welcome the traditional owners and the original storytellers of the land that we are on, our Indigenous and Torres Strait Islander listeners, to join us in our e-commerce conversations and our community. Now, speaking of community, we are excited to have the Add to Cart campus open for access. What's the Add to Cart campus, I hear you say? Put simply, it's a learning community for e-commerce professionals. And it feels like it's what we've been building at Add to Cart for many years. Free to join, campus has lunch and learn webinars, the latest e-commerce resources, a job board, and a heap of ways to learn with industry professionals and your peers. Whether you're an e-commerce manager, a founder, or simply finding your path to a career in e-commerce, we'd love to see you in there. Register to join campus at addtocart.com.au/campus. How many times have you heard people say that they've got an idea for a business that's so perfect, it's destined to be a success? There's certainly no shortage of people trying to come up with products that tick all the boxes for e-commerce success, and my guests today are no exception. The difference is that they seem to have nailed it. At least, that's what Kim Kardashian thinks. Today, I am talking to Michael Jankie, Gary Tramer, and Andrei Safonau, co-founders of Nat Pat, a brand creating wearable stickers for kids infused with essential oils that offer a range of solutions to everyday problems. There's a patch to repel mozzies, one to aid sleep, and even a sensory patch to alleviate stress and anxiety. Might need that on my future interviews. NATPAT started as a D2C brand and is now stocked in retailers throughout Australia, as well as the US and the UK. In this chat, we delve into NATPAT's channel marketing mix and how it works. The team shares how they position themselves as the original and best in market and how they combat the copycats. We also hear the story of how Kim Kardashian endorsed their product without them even knowing about it or paying for it. The guys have also given us a deal on NatPat, the code coming up at the end. So thanks to our partners, Shopify Plus and Deliver in Person, here's our conversation with Michael Jankie, Gary Tramer, and Andrei Safonau, co-founders of NatPat. Michael, Gary, Andrei, welcome to Add to Cart.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Pleasure, all three of you. This is monumental for us, three co-founders at once. Who's looking after the place while you're here?
Well, it's sort of monumental for us too. So it's quite funny. So we actually probably only see each other physically maybe once every 6 weeks. So we, whilst we're all buddies and we're all in Melbourne for a very long time, Gary's up in the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. Andrei's in Noosa. I'm down in Melbourne where we started. So technically I'm in our head office, HQ, but it's also just me in the office. So we're humorously a fully remote company.
Sounds like you got to bring HQ up to the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Gary and Andrei get together a bit more than I do, and the weather, I think, is a little bit better.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate having all three of you on here. Let's kick off NatPat. For people who may not know or have come across NatPat before, can you explain what you guys do? I had a lot of fun researching and having a look at all the products, but if you can share it with everyone else, that would be fantastic.
What brings me great joy in my life is describing what I do in the way that I overheard my kids describing in telling their friends what their dad does for a living, which is I sell stickers on the internet in its very basic form. Now, I do tell folks that sometimes and get a bit of an eye roll. And then when people sort of understand the scale and what that actually means, they seem to be a little bit more interested. But we sell what is essentially stick-on superpowers. So these are little stickers that are, for the most part, infused with natural oils or essential oils. And they are, they're there for remedies, everything from fighting back mosquitoes to battling bedtime and getting to sleep. They mostly kids use our products and love our products, so they're fun. But more and more adults use them. We started off as a company actually just called Buzz Patch, which was our first product, and that's what we named the company actually when we started, which was the mosquito repellent that we're probably most recognized for. And we shortly after that started rebranding because we realized that as an e-commerce business, having sort of one product or the company named after one product doesn't really allow enough scale. So now we're called NATPAT, which can be short for a bunch of things, but the branding folks we worked with and we agreed, thought it was better than, saying natural patch or buzz patch. NATPAT, that's ours.
There we go. I've had this before. I had this with Kalani Keenies. I didn't put the pieces together that Keenies is actually short for bikinis. Like, I'm just an idiot. And then for yours, I was like, what is NATPAT? What does NATPAT stand for? That makes sense.
Well, it's really funny, and we're really scrappy, but we worked with some really great branding folks, and we wanted to move away from patches. We wanted to move away from just generic terms. And the team sort of came up with NATPAT, and our first like sort of look at that was like, we could have done that. But I guess that's the same with everything, right? You look at paintings on the wall and you say, my kid could have done that. But turns out we love it, and our customers love it. And it's always funny when people start referring to us online and we're like, all right, the branding works. It really does work.
It does. And Gary, what is the most popular product today? So obviously started with mosquito stickers and then, as Michael said, expanded out into all ranges of solutions. What is the most popular today?
It's a question about who you ask. I think if we ask us, Buzz Patch is still by far the most popular because of the pain point. But if you ask somebody with young kids, I don't know, Nathan, do you have kids?
Yeah, I've got 2 kids, 8 and 9.
Okay, so they're probably sleeping. If you ask my sister who has a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, sleep is the problem. And so for parents of that age, it is by far the most popular. If you ask people that have kids that are a little bit older and their kids are wild and they get to that time of the afternoon where it's just tantrums, then the Zen product that calms them down is by far the most popular. And we actually just launched a tick repellent as well in the Northern Hemisphere. And I think the early signs are showing that is the most popular. So different regions, different folks, there's one for all.
There we go. So you guys were all tech founders previously, right? So were you all together in the same tech company beforehand?
Well, this is my favorite story about our company. And if we achieve nothing else with this business, it's that Andrei is in Australia. So Andrei is actually originally from Belarus. And we met 11 years ago, I think it was now, or maybe 10 years ago, 11 years ago when we had a little side hustle going, a little e-commerce business or a medium-sized e-commerce business. And Andrei was this little kid, really, that we met on Upwork, who we originally hired to do some analytics work for us. And there's actually some very funny photos that we look back on and go, he really was a little kid. But we brought him out to Australia for a little visit because we wanted him to sort of run ads for that business. And anyway, we brought him out to Australia, and the short version is that he loved it here and decided to move to Australia. And so Andrei then moved over to Australia, was working in that business, and we promptly sold it about 6 months after he arrived. So he was sort of out of a job, and we said, hey, let's start another business together. And it took us a few years, but we finally did start this business together, which is now NatPat. Andrei's now an Australian citizen with his wife and his 2-year-old. So it's this amazing story where Andrei was pulled out of Eastern Europe and landed squarely on the beaches of Noosa now. And that's sort of fun. But yes, so Gary and I have been known each other for a little bit more than 10 years. It's be coming up to about 40 years now, showing our age. We went to school together, grew up about 100 meters from each other, and have been up to mischief since about the age of 3. Gary and I have been doing software, in and out of software for the last 10, 15 years. And I guess we treat this business in very much a way, or approach it in very much a way, in decision-making very much a way that is similar to software companies and how we built and ran software companies.
Andrei, is that how you remember it? Like, what was your response when you've come over with this tech company and then the guys go, actually, we've got an idea. Stick-on stickers for mosquitoes.
Well, as Michael said, that it took us a few years before that. We are very lean, MVP-driven people who try, different things. And maybe it took us like 5 or 7 different other business ideas. You can imagine how crazy they are. And they didn't work. They all tanked, even though we throw in all our knowledge there before we landed on NATPAT. So it took us some refinement to find a market fit, right? Like we all talk about, all the founders, product market fit. It took us iterations. But it was fun just to experience that. It was fun to fail. And then it was fun just to see those early signs, the signs where product takes off, the market reception is amazing. You're like, I'm onto something. And we all had other things going. And at some point, you're like, okay, that's all in. Let's go all in on this one. And to this day, that has been fun.
You know that nervous feeling you get when you place your checked-in luggage on that airport baggage machine? You're kind of just hoping that your luggage arrives at your destination on time and in perfect condition. It's the same in e-commerce. You place a lot of trust in your last mile partners to deliver the final, crucial element of the customer experience. Now, imagine you are a premium product with over 100 years of customer experience expectations. That nervousness increases a lot. That's why Samsonite has chosen Deliver in Person for their reliable, on-time delivery to drive outstanding shopping experiences, enhance brand reputation, and significantly improve key delivery metrics. I mean, you can never be too careful when it comes to making sure luggage arrives on time and undamaged. Don't settle for less. Make your last mile experience the first thing that customers remember. Learn more about the incredible performance uplifts Samsonite has experienced since working with Deliver in Person at deliverinperson.com/case study Samsonite. When you say stickers with natural ingredients to repel mosquitoes, you're like, oh, that's amazing. Like, how do you even do that? My head goes, how would you even execute that and certify that it works? And obviously I have no experience in that world at all. How did you get up to speed? And I might throw this one to Gary. How did you get up to speed with making sure that what you're developing is actually working?
So Michael's got a view. I think going back to when we were kids, there was always a way to figure something out. And we learned, Michael and I had a startup, which we raised a very small amount of capital from friends and family, maybe about 15 years ago, which was, do you remember the entertainment book that the schools used to? So this is going to sound not revolutionary at all today, but back then it was. We thought, what if we created an entertainment book on an app that you could just get social recommendations? And the short story is we raised some money, we put it all into product development, like devs. We didn't consider marketing. We just watched the social network, and we thought we were going to be the next Facebook. And the business it didn't succeed. And we learned very quickly that marketing would be, if we ever did a business again, marketing is how we would lead. So to Andrei's point, we launched with something that we felt would have resonance and then raced to find the way that we could fulfill. Now, to be fair, we were doing this in parallel. So I'm going to say I've got a background in chemistry, but I don't. I got like a D for chemistry in year 12. And then I did biochem for one of my degrees I knew something. I knew how to Google things and I knew how to put it together, but it was a fast track of finding the best formulators in the world. Michael and I are good at bashing down doors and getting answers to things very quickly, finding testing laboratories. And we were very lucky that during COVID, Australia's best mosquito testing facility was not being, there was no use, so there's no one using it. So where it could take a year and a half to test these things, they said, we've got cages of mosquitoes that are doing nothing, come on in. And we actually brought in a video guy and I was there in the lab coat testing different formulations. We've got all the video, it's hilarious. So we were able to formulate, test very quickly, much faster than I think anybody else in the world could have done, given the timing. And, we have guinea pigs, which are our children. I could send them off to school with different variations of patches. They would come back with welts and go, yeah, that one didn't work. Let's try another and iterate. So we learned a lot very, very quickly. And I would say now I would be a foremost expert on repellents, natural repellents anyway, certifications, the process with different jurisdictions. It's been a wild and very fast learning curve, steep learning curve. But
dare say you'd get a better chemistry score today.
I don't think I would. We have ChatGPT though, so I think that would help.
It's I might add to that though that so Gary is certainly, I guess, the most conservative when it comes to, out of all of us, when it comes to the question of does the product work, doesn't the product work? And it's sort of this fun thing, and Andrei, points this out all the time, but, in our journey, it was probably a little over a year after we started the company, we were always questioning, is this real? Is this company going to work? And by this stage, we were probably over 8 figures in sales. But we were still questioning, going, should we go all in on this? What's the future? What's the future? And because it was always a question of how good are these products? Like how much longer is it going to last? And there was sort of two parts to this. One is like customers were buying it, right? And they kept buying it and rebuying it. And that's like, you can do all the testing you like in the world, but like if customers aren't buying it again, there might be a few reasons, but one of them most certainly is going to be that like it's not of value, meaning it's not working to the degree that it's worth paying for. And so customers were buying it, but I can point to, this moment in time, which was when Kim Kardashian actually posted about using our product. And it was this really funny thing where it was like, I was just sitting, I was actually overseas and I was sitting looking at my phone and a notification pops up because I'm logged into the company Instagram account saying Kim Kardashian posted about you. I really remember distinctly, it was 8 p.m. where I was, which was in Paris. And it was about 4 a.m. local time in Queensland where Gary and Andrei were. And I remember, and my wife had just stepped out. The kids had just gone to sleep. I remember screenshotting this going, oh, this will be funny. This will be like someone who's pretending to be Kim Kardashian, probably asking for free products or something. Anyway, so I opened the notification and, it's like, oh, Kim Kardashian says Kim Kardashian's posted a story. I'm looking at this story. And it was just really simple. It was a picture of our product saying, found these, bought these, love these, that sort of thing. And I was just like, is this her? And I click on the profile. I'm like, 330 million followers. I'm like, this is legit. And, I remember messaging Gary and Andrei saying, wake up, get up. And like for 10 minutes, I'm just like, seeing this tirade of abusive messages going, something big's happened, like what to do. And, at the same time, I messaged my wife who'd stepped out and I said, oh, is this interesting? As a joke. And she's like, yes. And she came rushing back to try and explain to me how social media works. And like, I get it. I know. But we were having fun. Anyway, eventually Gary wakes up and eventually Andrei, I think, was changing his son's nappy at some point and then looked at his phone, looked at the notification, walked away from his child to pay more attention to the phone. But, we sent a DM to Kim because we don't know where she bought our products from. She never asked for anything for free. She usually charges $1 million to do a post like that. And so we sent her a message saying, thanks so much for posting about us. Really appreciate it. We didn't ask for anything, didn't do anything. And she just wrote back going, you know what? I found these. One of my kids is really allergic to mosquitoes. They're so cute. They're fun and they work. And it was sort of that last couple of words, they work, that, Andrei points out, and I can very distinctly point to that time where Andrei points out going, well, this answers the question, right? Is this legit? Is this a real business? Is this a real product? And it's like, if, perhaps the biggest social media personality in the world who can get anything she wants, she's a billionaire. People send her free products all the time. If someone like that finds us, pays for us to solve a problem, it sort of means that someone who can get anything for free or has enough money to buy anything she likes or solve any problem she has, if she will go out and buy our product, but not just buy our product, but actually be so enamored with it to actually post about it, providing something that might be $1 million of value to us for free without, even pre-arranging them. If someone like that can, come out and say these things, it means it's real, like it's legit. And all the testing at labs in the world, doesn't matter how good or how bad or they say the product is and what the efficacy is. It's like, well, this is the evidence, right? This says it works.
Was there any further back and forth with Kim after that, or just one and done?
You know, our view on that, and it's it's an interesting approach. You know, some people would say, quick, message her and try and do collab deals and ask her this, that. Our view was like, just be grateful. It's clear she's actually just a real human with real problems. Like, like any other customer of ours that was buying our product was having, similar issues of, real mosquitoes. The kids are getting bitten. So we were just very polite and said, thank you. Like, that was it. No pressure. You don't need to post anything. And it was sort of funny because I think like maybe a year later or 9 months later, she actually posted something again about us. It must have been mosquito season back and I remember saying thank you again. And she's like, oh my God, they're wild at school. I've sent them all to school for all the kids because the whole school's getting eaten alive. And I think it's just that sort of thing. It's, my view is if an influencer ever does anything for free like that is unexpected, it's not to try and hound them. People are hounding them every day of their life. Just try and do something different. Try and be thankful without any pressure to do more, and be thankful you got the first bit, and maybe there'll be more a year later.
Love it. And Gary and Andrei, when you got that phone call, bleary-eyed, 4 a.m. that morning, what impact did it have for you operationally when you get someone who's sharing your product and your brand to that many people around the world? What were the operational impacts of that?
Forget operationally. I actually remember waking up. It was like 5. I don't remember when it was, but it was I go to bed early, so I got it in the morning. And just from a timing perspective, it was probably 2 weeks after the war on Russia and Ukraine started. And Michael didn't say anything about Kim Kardashian. He just said shit's blowing up, and opened CNN. And I'm like, it's World War III, I thought. And I looked at it. I was like, there's no news. I was like, what are you talking about? And then he sent me that photo. And as a anticlimax to what I thought was World War III, I was like, oh, is that it? And I said that to him. I was like, okay, great, Kim Kardashian, big deal. Whatever you think about her, I don't follow that stuff. And he very quickly was like, no, I don't think you understand. Like, this is the world's largest influencer. We know what she charges for a post. Whatever you think of her is one thing. And, impressed by her empire, she's chosen our product. And then it started a whole discussion about influencer marketing, with which we don't really do. We still believe, even today, Michael has strong views on this, which is, we want authenticity. We want to be able to represent, we want the brand to be represented ethically. We don't like paying for somebody to pretend they like us. So it was just a great moment in time, recognition and validation for the effort we put in.
Yeah, absolutely. Did the orders flow in immediately, or did it kind of fast track plans to push into more international markets?
Yeah, it was off season for the year. So I think from memory, we recorded 4 times volumes of average daily sales for maybe 4 or 5 days. But it's so on surface level of pure, if you look at pure in and out or direct response, it was interesting. There was a bunch more money for a week. But I guess it's one of those things where you can really go longer term value of validation. I even remember we were having trouble at the time trying to get verified tick on Instagram and Facebook. And it was one of those things, we sent it to our apps and went, surely this is enough.
It was not enough.
It was not enough. But, we had to go, I think we got a little press article. No, actually, that's, I guess, another funny story about why we applied and won a trophy, which is, I know it's not behind me, it's somewhere over there, just to get a blue tick on Facebook and Instagram. But so the validation, I think, helps longer term. I know in a lot of the retail stuff we were doing, retailers are always asking, does it work? Will people buy it? It's like, well, we can point to our sales volume online, but also, hey, Kim Kardashian talks about it and she's not a paid influencer.
Yeah, absolutely. In having a look at the product, doing a bit of research, I struggle to think of many products that are more desirable for a D2C offering than what you've got, because obviously it's a consumable. You run out of them. It's subscribable. It's hitting a lot of problem points that exist in real life. You're not inventing a new problem point. And the size of them, I can imagine from a packaging and a postage perspective, really nail the D2C offering. Was that a key consideration when you were weighing up whether this was the big idea, that it fit a lot of those D2C boxes?
So a lot, it's interesting, and you're actually spot on, and you're very attuned to this. Obviously, people say, "Why did you start the company?" And there's some real truth in the fact that we looked at a product. We were looking for a product that fit a marketable sort of framework and something that worked for direct to consumer. And that framework was really consumable product, can fit in an envelope, so shipping can be free. Cost of goods, or the unit economics relatively good. The ability to advertise it to a target market that will make pretty quick decisions on purchasing all played into it. But we didn't start the company looking to solve problems with stickers. We didn't start the company looking to deal with mosquitoes. What we were looking for all those years and all those iterations of different ideas was something that worked within a framework of works well for direct to consumer.
That makes sense. But now I understand that you've expanded beyond D2C, you've got a wholesale element, you've got Amazon marketplaces in there. Tell us around what the world looks like now from a sales channel perspective for NatPat, both in terms of sales channels, but also markets.
So I'll start that with, it'd be great to sell everything direct to consumer, but it's not where the consumer wants to buy from all the time. So I think it's important that, when you're a new company, you're niche, you're desirable. And for us, we'd started a new category. We weren't just copying, we weren't another badmouth any other companies, but we weren't just reproducing something that existed already.
Go on then, badmouth them. Give them hell.
No. Oh, I don't know, whatever. We're not just another, apparel company or, dime a dozen water bottle companies that have copied the original innovators. So you can be niche, right? People will accept being niche. Then after some time, particularly in the US, people want your niche product, but they want to know what the shipping time is going to be, what the return policy is going to be. So that's when they start looking at Amazon in particular in the US. I think that's Amazon's big power is as a consumer, what the delivery is going to be. And what happens if you're unhappy, how to return. And the wholesale piece, I think, which is now it will be the biggest part of our business. It's currently the smallest part. But the wholesale piece is just about convenience. We know when we go into a retailer that what will fly off the shelves is based on people already have seen our advertising, marketing, seen other people wearing our patches. And then they finally see it in store and they go, oh, yeah, that's my point of conversion. So it becomes the convenience side of things. So when we started, we were 100% direct to consumer. Then, we went to Amazon and Amazon was 20% of the business. And now the truth is Amazon and direct to consumer are probably about the same size. And there's different parts that are good and bad. So Amazon's really good for single unit sales for us in terms of unit economics and shipping. Whereas direct to consumer, I would rather sell something on Amazon as a single pack than our website.
Do you get a lot of first-time customers through Amazon as well?
We think so, but hard to know. What we see, so the power of having the direct-to-consumer side of the business is it essentially funds and makes popular everything else. So Andrei, who runs the marketing and gets to be in charge of $15 million of spend a year, he sees that correlation more than anyone else, which is spend more money advertising for direct-to-consumer, sell more on Amazon. So we see that, and it's this thing of, but we fund that off the direct to consumer side, and it's the same with retail, right? Retail sales, we see volumes also move from the retailers that we get the reporting back from. We see the volume move, partially seasonality, but partially based on marketing and advertising spend. But having that direct to consumer side, it's we will hold on to that for our dear lives because that's what funds all our advertising, all our marketing, because we can measure the direct response there really easily.
Have you ever played tennis where there are two balls on the court at the same time? It is mayhem. That's what it felt like for the team at Elite 11 when they had separate systems running for online sales and in-store sales. Inventory was out of whack, customer data was all over the shop, and they just couldn't get into the flow of the game. During COVID, the Elite 11 brand quickly launched into physical storefronts. The problem was that their POS tech wasn't ready to scale with them. Since stopping to re-platform to Shopify POS, they are now acing the competition with 80% revenue growth, including 240% year-on-year POS growth. Better still, the unified view over customer and inventory has allowed Elite 11 to set up personalised cross-channel communication, enable ship-to-customer orders from stores, and continue to grow their store network effortlessly. Game, set, match. Check out shopify.com/au/plus and get in touch with the Aussie Shopify team to see how the dynamic duo of Shopify Plus and Shopify POS can help you unify your tech stack for growth. And Andrei, from an attribution perspective, when you've started with D2C and you're pumping, a lot of your investment and time and focus into building a brand and trying to attract customers to the D2C, but you're seeing that halo effect, whether it's in Amazon or your retailers. How are you attributing or justifying your spends in different channels if it's not directly correlated?
So we do run tests, lift test studies or holdout tests for different geographical locations. And our view is evolving over years, right? And right now we are in a position where pretty much 30% of our revenue is Shopify, 30% Amazon, and another 30% would be retail. So it's easy for us to see the lift when we put out or increase the spend. What's the correlation or what's the outflow effect? Do not compete with each other. The beautiful part, like when we start the business, maybe retail will take away the share of this product, or maybe, Amazon, we should not push hard there. Now they're very complementary. Like Michael discussed, you don't want to buy one pack on our website. We actually don't want you to buy one pack on our website. We want you to buy new products where we test new offers. We want to give you the bundles. On Amazon, we definitely would love you to come back and buy there. We don't want to acquire you through Amazon. That's why it's just complements and, unit economics works incredibly well. But if you would love to try like very small pack, under $10 and you're skeptical, go to retail, go to your convenience. And those serve totally different customers. We see that it's not the same person buying all three things. It's totally different audience. And we're trying to add another touch point across the journey to find people who shop online, to find people who shop on Amazon, and find people who just shop on retail. Answering your question, we just run lift studies. We run lift studies and hold out geographical tests to see the halo effect.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you find, if I've got this right, you find that each channel has a distinct audience rather than customers discovering you in one and then bouncing across channels based on what's convenient
for them?
Well,
obviously there is overlap, but we do see a big incrementality in adding each of those channels together. When we run out of stock, for example, on Amazon, that happens, right? It's a big issue for the whole business. Or when we're out of stock in retail, that's another thing. So it's definitely the customers are not flexible enough just to move around. They are very incremental.
And Gary, as you've expanded into that wholesale retail market, have you had to change anything about the product? Because there is quite a range of products that you've got now for different problems, different solutions. Have you had to change anything to make it work in the retail environment, whether that be packaging, stock levels, displays?
So the answer is yes. I'd say we were super clever in the fact that with obviously Andrei's skill in D2C marketing, with a 30-second Facebook ad, you can create the story. So what the pack looks like is sort of secondary. In retail, I was freaking out for like 6 months before we moved into Target because I thought, the pack doesn't communicate, and the amount of people that we'd spoken to about how to package claims and terminology and the design, and does this feel like it's something that you would spend $10 to $15 on a shelf? And I spent many sleepless nights obsessing about, oh my God, how are we going to make this work? Michael was trying to temper me, keep me calm. Andrei was like, it's going to be fine. So I spent a lot of time trying to figure this out. Many freelancers, many discussions, so many conflicting opinions. What we landed on was we already knew a lot more than what we thought we knew. But the truth was, we went to the US, Michael, Andrei and I. We went and we walked every aisle of every major retailer. And in the US, there's many more than Coles and Woolies. So from morning till night, multiple days, we went through and we took photos and we looked at it and we looked at the competitors, not direct competitors, but what other companies would do with their packaging. I took inspiration. I've actually got photos where Andre and Michael and I are in a hotel room making designs, cutting them out, creating mock-ups, going into retailers, putting them on the shelf, trying to imagine what they would look like, font size, everything, so it would stand out on a shelf, which was actually an amazing exercise. And to Michael's point of how scrappy we are, nothing like the visceral approach of doing it yourself. We came back from the US as self-taught packaging experts, and it made me feel nauseous about the amount of time that I'd spent with other experts, realizing that now we really know what we're talking about. And yeah, we're updating our packaging for retail, moving into a case format, a collectible format, which is beautiful. It's got an amazing feel. It's collectible. The patch material improved, the actual design, the aesthetic, the hierarchy of claims. All these things has been taking a very data-driven approach to each aisle and each retailer and looking at what else is out there. And now we know we've nailed it. Like, we feel really confident about what we've done. And we've done that ourselves internally mostly, which is just amazing. And so we're actually in the process now of manufacturing that next level and then bringing it to the world, you know, sort of end of September, October. So in the next 3 to 4 months. So yeah, super pumped.
That's very cool. I love that tip that you've got around do the mock-ups, get them in the store yourself, see how they look alongside the other products. That was a really great tip. From the time you started NatPat or even Buzz before that, since then I can see that there's a lot more competitors, a lot more players in market. How do you create a competitive moat around what you guys have so that no one else can play in the space that you're in?
Yeah, listen, it's super frustrating to have built a category. And the best way I can describe is how we realized we'd built a category was, we have people cold emailing us all the time saying, we can do your marketing better, we can do your this better, we can do your that better. And one of them I took a Zoom call with was a Amazon specialist. We can do your Amazon listings better. We're guaranteed to do it better. Anyway, so we took a Zoom call and this guy decided that he wouldn't do any research before he jumped on the call. And so he gets on the call and is just like, yeah, I can make this better for you. What you're taking on the market isn't big enough. I can get more for you. And we're like, well, can you? And he goes, yeah, let me show you. Let me show you how much, how much of the market you've taken each year. And so he he's screen sharing with us and he pulls up this chart and he's like, it's weird. I've never seen this before. The market is growing year on year for 2 years. This is once we were 2 years old. And you're taking more and more of it. He's like, you created this market. He's like, yeah, we did create this market. Thank you. So copies are like really disappointing. It's the homegrown copies, as in like Australian companies that copy us, that really disappoints me the most. It's like, I don't know, like, we're Australian, don't copy us. There's one guy on Twitter who constantly promotes how good a D2C and e-commerce guy he is. And, I have an email sent to him when I first noticed that he'd copied our products to say, hi, take this down. You're in breach of our trademarks. Stop self-promoting yourself. Like, you can do better, one warning only. And, it was that thing of, oh, sorry, didn't realize we'd copied you. This same guy, it's like, you search our brand on Google and like he has ads coming up with our brand name in his titles.
Oh, I'm definitely searching that after this, actually.
It's frustrating, but it's also, we see so many of it. It's like, well, at least you're always, they're always at best one step behind. Sometimes they're more than one step behind. And that can be on design, on packaging, on all the visual elements you see online. What our biggest concern is that it is a category that I guess we created the market for. So our biggest concern is that if a consumer tries one of these other products, they are inevitably inferior. And the risk is that they're turned off the concept of stick-on remedies, and that it's not that they have bought from that company and just won't buy from that company again. It's that the risk that they put us into the same bucket as that company and just say stickers don't work. That's our biggest concern. And so what we spent quite a bit of time, effort, and money on in the last really 18 months is making sure it's really clear. So we certainly have a first mover advantage. So there is a lot of effort that goes into maintaining what that means to be a first mover advantage in other areas to buy our product in retail, for example. But also, when we first came out, we were just round stickers, right? Round stickers with fun emojis. We did some trademarking around it, but like people copied us in near enough copies. I have a bag sits rightfully in its place on the floor in my office of products that have copied us. But we went, all right, let's look at this a little bit more carefully. Like people, we want to be a bit rough on consumers. And if they buy the cheap version or the inferior version, people should know that they're wearing the cheap and inferior version. And so our way of doing that was like, great, let's have a really distinct shape, a registrable shape. So even as a consumer, if you see someone, wearing a round sticker, it's the cheap one. They've gone for the cheap version versus, ours is sort of that shape.
So it's a little bit of I can't see it exactly, but it's like a little squiggly kind of rectangle.
Yeah. We call it the smile curve. But have it as a distinct shape, a brandable shape, and really make that get across. We actually worked, it's a real joy, and probably most of your listeners won't be seeing what's behind me, but we really wanted to go something unique in terms of our design work, in terms of our, what visually you associate with our products. And so I was very fortunate that my co-founders gave me a lot of rope to go and hire an artist, actually, an Australian, a Melbourne-based artist, to go and re-illustrate, what is this Nat Pat world? What is a Nat Pat species of characters? Which is, that's actually on a canvas behind me. And so that's something we're introducing more and more into our product and making sure the brand is just really strong out there. We do, part of our permanent team is in-house legals. So we do the usual, chasing up trademark reports, violation reports, all those sort of things. But I would say that is just become standard operational procedure. But our key is actually staying ahead with design, product quality, brand recognition. And, it's all in the brand, really.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, from what I'm seeing is that you're not just a mosquito patch that not anyone, but you can claim to have a mosquito patch, I suppose, and get that to market. But you're creating an ecosystem here from both a product and a solution perspective, but also from a branding perspective as well, which makes a lot of sense. What areas do you think that opens up? So if you were to expand beyond your current market of solving problems, and tell me if I've got this wrong, solving problems for parents with kids, do you see what you've done so far opening up other expansions or areas that you could play?
Yeah, so we are absolutely always think that ideal customer for our parents or caregivers, and we'll always think what else or how else we can serve them better. But at some point, you always want to go beyond that core audience. And for us, caregivers to pets is the next big thing. We are thinking about stickers for pets that help them with anxiety, or stickers for pets that repel ticks. There are more pet owners in United States than parents. So that's another huge market for it. Now, that's one side. Another side of things, we are just trying to find innovative way where to apply those stickers. And one of those will be very interested for Gen Z audience. And now those are stickers that you smell them when you drink your water, and your brain is tricked to believe that you're drinking flavored water, while in fact it's just regular water. It's inspired by Mr. Beast, Air Up, and so on, and similar concept, similar application to the brain by just in a patch or sticker format. So those are like three completely new growth channels: pets, parents, and just younger audience that we can play with, and then see what happens there. There's so much overlap afterwards as well.
That's very cool. I love that thinking. With the sticker still being the form or the medium, but opening up opportunities for different audiences and different problems.
Yeah. We're trying to, trademark this aroma wave technology, which is a way to deliver certain things to certain human beings and pets. And Gary has spent so much time researching different materials, how to build out those stickers, oils that go into that. Like, not all mosquito stickers are equal. You can tell the same about all other products. And we are strong in that regards and trying to, to put that transmission mechanism to all other areas of life.
Beautiful. Gents, great conversation. I love the thinking, and I love that first mover advantage that you've got and how you've been able to capitalize on that, both intentionally and accidentally, I suppose, if you call it with Kim K, if you call creating a great product that she values accidentally. But you've given us so many ideas there. If people are interested in checking out Nat Pat, the range, and potentially getting in touch with you guys, because I get a feeling that you are naturally curious and you are hands on the ground problem solvers. Tell us about who you like collaborating with. Who do you like hearing from? Other business owners? Do you like, get together with others? How do you get your inspiration?
So one of the things that's actually worked really well for us is we are constantly scouring for information about other brands that are winning and probably 2 or 3 steps ahead of us. And then we just reach out. We try and have a conversation. And it's actually quite interesting because if you were to look at my WhatsApp feed and my WhatsApp at the moment, there are, and I won't mention the brands, but there are, VP of sales or VP of packaging or VP of marketing of some of the world's best consumer packaged goods brands or D2C brands that as a brain fart comes in before I even bring it to Michael or Andre, I will, channel it on WhatsApp to these individuals and say, hey, we've got this design or we've got this challenge or whatever it might be. And they'll come back with feedback. And instead of having a coffee catch up or a lunch, it's literally a WhatsApp communication. So we are quite proactive as a company in reaching out. I know we're part of different, like, what do you call them, MJ? Like the startup community or the Slack communities or CPG communities or D2C communities, just trying to learn as much as we can. So anyone that's doing something 1 to 2 to 3 steps ahead of us in terms of size or product development or retailers they're in is always fascinating for us to learn from. We're super curious and we love filling the gaps.
Beautiful. What's the best way for people to get in touch if they think they fit that bill?
Any of our first names at natpat.com gets us on email.
Take it easy. If you think you can beat your Amazon ratings, probably don't reach out if you're that person.
Yeah, exactly. But we're also, and Gary's right, we hang out in a handful of various Slack groups. I'm actually in one with a bunch of Victorian founders. We're in some CPG ones, Workplace 6. A bunch of Slacks are good as well. Like we often find people that we have questions to ask and people will often find us. And it's always interesting. I think the key for us is how can we learn and then offer as payment something we can, pass on, pass back, teach. And, it'd be great to hear from other founders, particularly who are dealing in product-based goods, who are selling, globally, who are 8 figures, multi-8 figures is where we're at, is great to hear from and just sharing ideas. Like, our biggest challenge is always, how do you find more audience, more eyeballs? And we, love chatting to people and sharing with people. We're fortunate that in the world of Meta, we're one of the largest spenders in Australia. So the Meta team or our Meta account managers put us in contact with some of the other leading brands. But yeah, just it's sort of lonely, right? And I guess everyone gets that, but I don't know, new ideas. Gary wants to make a cartoon from our product as an idea of how could we launch a cartoon series on Netflix. It's those sort of ideas that are, it's fun for us, but it's also like, yeah, this is novel. This is interesting. This is not, what a standard, consumer packaged goods company does.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I feel privileged that you've shared your story so far and some of those ideas that you've got, because you are definitely thinking differently than a lot of people. And I really appreciate that fresh approach that you bring in and that curiosity that you've got to continue learning and scaling this business. So thank you so much for all 3 of you for taking the time out today. I really appreciate all your time. Great to hear the Nat Pat story, and I'm sure we're only at the start of it.
Pleasure.
Thanks so much, Nathan. It's fun chatting with the 3 of us, actually.
Who would have thought stickers was such a lucrative and big business? But I love how the guys have thought about this as an ecosystem rather than just a product to fit a solution, because it has created a moat for them against all the rip-offs coming through. So with that in mind, if you want the original and the best, we have a special offer for you for NatPat. Use the code ADDToCart24, or one word, ADDToCart24, to get 15% off the first 250 orders from Add to Cart listeners. Head to natpat.com to claim your discount. All right, there are 3 lessons that I really took from this conversation. Number 1, create your own moat early. The team had some great lessons on how they combat the copycats. After all, they essentially created the category, and inevitably, there are always going to be those who want to take the easy route and move in. Firstly, they've made their products stand apart by making their sticker patches a unique shape. The Nat Pat ones have the wiggly edges, easily identified as the original. But they haven't stopped there. They've also invested in an artist-designed world, a whole ecosystem, a whole brand, to enhance the brand and make it unmistakable. Number 2, get hands-on with your packaging. The team were nervous about the move into stores, especially internationally, and how their packaging would hold up in this environment. Instead of going out and hiring the biggest and the most expensive packaging consultants, they actually found the most valuable lessons were learned by creating mock-ups and physically going into stores to see what it looked like on the shelves and against other products. So don't be afraid to go old school to find out what works best. And number 3, level up for mentors. The team identifies brands who they admire, who might be 2 or 3 steps ahead of them on their journey, and then they reach out to them and approach them for advice. Most of the times, they're pretty open. The beauty about this is that it's looking ahead, and it's also looking sideways to other categories or even brands who may not be in the direct line of sight to where they want to head, but have walked the path before in terms of the big strategic moves that they want to make. So I love this. Identify the brands that are 2 or 3 steps ahead, reach out, ask for advice. You never know what you'll get back. Before you go, we'd love to invite you to join our free e-commerce learning platform, Add to Cart Campus. Meet other professionals and learn from e-commerce experts to take your business and your e-commerce career to the next level. Register to join Campus at addtocart.com.au/campus. Now, if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you share it with a friend or a colleague, or even better, leave us a review on Spotify or Apple. It really makes a difference.